Good everyone, Organized video. Today we have a review on the US A6M2, also known as the Akutan Zero. So this aircraft in War Thunder has been around for, God, I think this thing's been around from the get-go, to be honest. Um, and I don't tend to see many of these. I tend to see more Chinese Zeros now, probably because people just saw it at 650 and just thought, yeah, since I haven't played China yet, nice, cheap and easy premium. And you don't tend to see a lot of Akutans nowadays, which I'm kind of disappointed by. But for 1300 Golden Eagles off sale and at 650 on sale, I think this aircraft is worth the price. However, there's a big however. If you do not have either XP50 or BF109F4 in the US tech tree, I would recommend getting those first. Those are a bit more forgiving for the most part. The 109 does have some overheating problems, but that's manageable if you've flown 109s before. And XP50 is XP50. That's all I need to say. So, as per usual with these captured premiums, as I keep reiterating, if you have not flown these aircraft before, go and fly them in the respective tech trees. If you like them, consider purchasing the premium. Now, the difference between the US Zero and the Chinese Zero is the skin, and also the Chinese Zero gets access to bomb racks. The US A6M2 doesn't. Now, I would go over the history of how this aircraft was captured, but Harry's done that in the sale acquisition video, so go check that out if you want a bit of history about this aircraft. Um, but let's put it this way: this aircraft has a bit of a questionable history because of one of the pilot's actions, but that's a story for another day, I suppose. But otherwise, it's exactly the same as a normal A6M2 carrier variant Zero, because obviously we have the Mod 11, which is a more of a it's more of an island-based Zero. You don't have a carrier hook on that one. And subsequently, there's not really much to talk about if you've flown a regular Zero. In terms of the engine, you are powered by a Nakajima Sakai 1214 cylinder radial. It has 840 horsepower off or on 100% and 952 on WEP. This obviously changes as you go higher in altitude, and the A6M2 does start to wheeze at about 5 kilometers, so just bear that in mind. And because of this reasonably powerful engine, given the Japanese designing at the time, this aircraft is like a kite. It can get up off the ground very easily at some of the ridiculous speeds I've ever seen. I've took this thing off at 80 miles an hour with the bloody flaps down, and it just makes it so much more easier to fly than some of the other US premiums, in my personal opinion. But that's because I love Zeros. I'm not used to it. So let's go over the armament of the aircraft. We are armed with two 20mm Type 99 Model 1 cannons. These are based off the Oerlikon, not MGFF, I was about to say that, Oerlikon 20mm. This is simply a cannon that is more meant for close range combat, as you'll notice in the they're basically MGFFs, which are based off the Oerlikon. These are more meant for close range combat. I would only recommend engaging targets at about 300 to 400 meters. So set your gun to convergence for that distance, because otherwise you're just going to be plinking off and doing no damage, or better yet, not even hitting them at all. But there's a good little trick that I'm going to show you in this battle that you're going to see today that really does show what you can do with a Zero as long as you're A, skilled, and B, keep it in close. Your extra armament, which will be probably the most used, in my personal opinion, is the twin 7.7 Type 97 machine guns for 680 rounds each. These are based off the Vickers E, so there's the machine gun type if you was interested. This is a decent machine gun, although it does require a lot of precision aim and also a lot of plink, plink, plink. Let's put it that way, because if you're fighting something like a P-47, it's going to be a lot harder to actually score damage on them. and subsequently it's going to be a long time before you put down something like a P-47 D-25, which you can potentially encounter if you encounter a Hitler bolt or a Stalin bolt. Now, against those sort of aircraft, you only really have one advantage, and that's two advantages if you include the climb rate. And that's A, your climb rate, and B, your maneuverability. This thing is very maneuverable, although lower speed maneuverability it's good, but it's when you get into the high speeds. This thing doesn't like high speed combat, and subsequently you're gonna have to work around that. But otherwise, recommended belts for this aircraft is uni in both guns. This is a close-in dogfighter, and using the best belts, in my personal opinion, is what's going to make this thing work. Of course, I have seen people get results with ground targets. However, I personally wouldn't recommend that. There's a bit too much AP in this for what the Japanese Zero can do, and with the limited ammunition capacity, and I know some people are going to say, hang on a minute, you recommend ground targets in the Hispano, but the Hispano sparks, for me, these don't tend to, these 20mm cannon. But even so, just find a belt that works for you. Just don't fall into the trap of the tracer belt, because as you'll notice there, it says 6.05 grams. Apparently, the universal and the ground target belts, as well as the stealth belt, actually have a slightly higher high explosive charge in some of their shells. So if you want to keep up consistent damage, stick with something like uni, ground, or stealth. As for the 7.7s, only run uni. I have seen people try stealth. I don't like it personally, so I just tend to see where the bullets are going, and that way I can precisionally aim at a certain target. Well, target area. But that pretty much covers the aircraft in the hangar. As I said, if you want another look at another Zero, there is a review on my channel of the Chinese Zero. Feel free to go check that out. It's exactly the same as this aircraft. It's just this aircraft has no bomb racks and a different skin. That's it. So, let's get into the battle and let's take a look at the US A6M2 Zero. This wasn't the best match I had in Akutan, but I thought I'd show it anyway. And there's also, do you remember, is one for you who's been around for a bit. Do you remember the guy named The Answer is 42 from the Key 61 Talisman flight? He's in this battle, and I think I shoot him down? I don't remember. I've had that many bloody flights these last few days, trying to get footage for these premiums. So, that gives you an idea. So, starting on the carrier, we start next to two Corsairs, which I find quite funny. That was rather funny to see, just starting next to two Corsairs and a Zero. It's rather funny. And fun fact as well, the Chinese Zero is the only navalized aircraft in its tech tree. That Corsair just did clip a wing there. He is going to repair in a moment, so don't worry about him. But the Chinese Zero is the only naval aircraft in their tech tree, and subsequently, it's the only time you'll ever get a carrier takeoff in the Chinese tech tree. So that gives you an idea. So this battle's only short, but I'm just going to put it to 2 times speed for the moment, because otherwise I'd be skipping most of the battle, because it takes me a bit to climb up. Not saying the Zero has a bad climb rate, far from it. This thing's got a very good climb rate. It's just I don't want to skip most of the climbing stage, so then you get an idea of what this aircraft's climb rate is. Now I tend to climb at 15 degrees in the Zero, but in this battle I think I was doing 20, just because I wanted to see how it would handle 20. And it's handling it okay, it's just whenever you get above about 3 kilometers, which will be coming up very shortly. And there's The Answer is 42, is in the G2 Stuka. He's going to get slapped in a moment, so I feel bad for him, and there he goes. A P400 just took him out, who the P400 rushed in and just completely obliterated him. But the P400 did get set on fire, so he's going to have to return to base, although I was actually thinking he wasn't going to get back to base, and, well, he ended up being able to, I think, but his strategy of rushing in the way he did was not exactly very smart. Now, you'll notice the replay title was called Using Old Tricks. One of my favourite tricks in a Zero is to lure the enemy into your trap. Now, how to explain it? Well, first of all, let's deal with this BF-109 here. Crix046, he was in his BF-109 F1, he was not really paying all that much attention, and I'm able to get in nice and close, and there we go, kill number 1. And this is where one of my favourite tricks comes in the Zero. So I'm obviously keeping an eye out around me, and I spot the 190. Now let's pause for a minute here so I can explain what I'm about to do. So as you can tell, the 190 is coming in at a rather aggressive angle. He's coming in and he's planning to roll to the left as well as pull to the left. So my strategy is I'm going to turn the complete opposite way. So just watch. So I dodge, I loop over, using the speed that I gained in the slight dive, and I bring the plane back over. I'm obviously keeping an eye out around me, because if there's multiple targets, you can't get away with this for long. The 190 pulls it up, I'm easily able to bring the aircraft around, and that is kill number 2. It's not the first time anyone's fallen for it, and it's not the last time someone's going to fall for it in this battle. I've noticed a lot of pilots tend to fall for this trick, and sure enough, Sir Drink-A-Lot, which you must be Bullseye Pete secretly, he's going to fall for the same trick. He attempts to turn inside of me, but being a Zero, yeah, that's not happening, buddy. Let's put it that way. I bring the plane back around and snap his wing. Kill number 3. And I've noticed a lot of players tend to fall for that trick. I can sort of understand why, given tier, but I hope these people learn from this, because this trick is only really good against low to medium experienced players. If you encounter an experienced player, there's not a lot you can do against them. And this Hurricane gives me the best bit of baiting I've seen in a long time. Thank you, Hurricane, for my 4th and final kill for this match, which I could have gotten an ace. But I couldn't let the Hurricane not get anything out of this battle. So I pour on some pain there on the BF-109, but then I decided at around about this point, the Hurricane's now on the BF-109, and I figured I'll get a crit and I'll break off. He'd done very well this match, the Hurricane, to bait most of the enemy planes down, and I feel like I'd be sort of stealing it from him if I didn't let him get a kill, because he'd done some good work this game, John 1994. So I thought, screw the ace, I'll just be a good teammate, and well, that's what I did. This only leaves 4 enemy aircraft left, but as you can tell by the match timer, it really doesn't continue very long after. The 202 that you saw earlier, he ends up crashing on the way back to base. There's also a BF-109 who ends up getting strafed, and the other 2 end up jaying out on the runway. So like I say, for 1300 Golden Eagles off sale and 650 on sale, this is a great plane. However, as I said, only consider it if you have the BF-109 F4 or XP50. The reason why I say the 109 F4, you'll find out. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's review on the USA A6M2 Zero, and I will catch you all on the next one.